Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio was popping.
Yo, you know what's popping.
Fired up.
I am fired
up on a Friday.
Fired up on a Friday. My UCF Knights.
Go Knights.
Formerly the UCF Golden Knights.
Oh, now they're just the Knights?
For a while now, John. Like, new logo.
Marketing. We need a corporate rebrand. We need a more edgy approach.
We dumped trashy Adidas. We jumped on the Nike train.
Yeah.
You know, that all happened when your boy, Michael Jordan's son, came to UCF to play basketball.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Daddy steps in and is like, yeah, my kids can't wear anything but Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah. I wish it was like, you know, more modern day, because then we would have been like Jumpman.
There you go.
But right now we're Nike. It's a Nike school. But yeah, no, UCF, our Knights are Big 12 official.
Yeah. That's
Big 12, yeah. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Almost. Not quite, but hey, do you know how to eat an elephant, John?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So, yeah, you know.
Yeah. You can't just wake up one day and be an SEC powerhouse like Alabama.
That's true. You can't just be. I remember when I was at Tampa, USF was undefeated and had Matt Grothe at quarterback, and they were the number one ranked team for like 16 minutes. Do you remember that?
I remember that game so well that I was in a section of UCF students, and they were chanting, "Grothe has herpes."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Damn.
It was funny as all get out. Now, that has transpired to just recently the new AD, Terry Mujahar, I believe that's how you pronounce UCF's new AD's last name, had to do a like an IG video TikTok thing where he was basically asking the UCF student section, quit dropping the F-bomb. Like, we have some really nice people from the state of Idaho that were visiting our campus there to cheer on their team.
Right.
And I can't remember. I was at the game, but the UCF student section, which is one of the best student sections, in my opinion, in the country. I am a homer.
Wow.
I am a homer.
That is bold.
And they were chanting something and dropping the F-bomb. And, yeah, it's probably not appropriate. Nor was it probably whatever year you're talking about that USF thought they were good with Matt Grothe.
That was the undefeated year. They had to redo the polls. ESPN was so mad. Every week they kept winning, and they were just like, why are we talking about this team? Can they just lose? And eventually they did.
Why are we talking about USF when they're so irrelevant, but UCF is in the Big 12?
What is UCF in? What is USF in? Big something?
No, they're both in the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, together,
AAC,
which was formerly the Big East, which is now defunct.
Get away.
Right, but at one time, like, UCF was in Conference USA. They wanted to get into the Big East, and USF was like, we're not letting you in. We're not letting you in. Well, they finally got in, and now karma, it's a bitch, and USF is going to be still in the AAC. They still can't win football games, and UCF is stepping up to the plate. They're going one rung further up.
There you go.
And I think their athletic budget's going to triple.
What?
Yeah, so if they already were a menace on the recruiting trails, imagine what happens now when they have 3 times the amount of money to dump into facilities.
You're starting out there at Pop Warner. You're going to get your son's Pop Warner game when he's 3 years old.
What's that?
You're going to be showing up at Pop Warner games starting to recruit your son at 3 years old. That's what's going to happen.
They do not allow 3-year-olds to play a Pop Warner, but 6-year-olds. And that's a whole nother show because that may be too young for tackle football.
Speaking of today's show.
What are we going to talk about, John? You and I got on this tangent of UCF because today is a big announcement. We talked about it being Friday. Yep. Yes, it's Friday.
Yep. What's been on your mind? Let's talk about what's been on your mind because you came in a little bit riled up. You know, what's been going on in your head?
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we once did an episode when I think we titled it Potpourri.
Correct.
Because we're like, we sat down, we started recording, we started talking. It's one of our actually better, highly rated episodes.
Correct.
And we didn't have a theme.
Nope.
It was almost like it was a talk radio show format. Let's do that again.
Let's do it.
Because there's a ton of different things we can touch on, but I don't know if they're like ready for a full segment.
Correct.
And then we can also do fun things like looping in UCF football.
Okay.
Actually, I guess it'd be more than UCF football. It'd be UCF new conference alignment. But we're done with that. Okay. I do want to know about this. Why? How do you pick the centerpieces for our shows?
The universe tells me to pick it out.
So you just walk in, close your eyes, spin around 3 times, and whatever you focus on first.
Basically, and I think like, all right, how often have we had this centerpiece on here? I don't want to use it too heftily.
It's 2016, and this was from the Oviedo Pop Warner.
Yep.
So this is a charity golf event to raise money for the local Pop Warner organization.
Let's go.
It's a golf trophy where we cheated, not the best. We're the second best at cheating, whatever team I was a part of, and we got second place.
There you go.
So that's a second place trophy.
Okay.
At a golf scramble
For a Pop Warner
for a local Pop Warner.
Only in Florida. All right. So I'll just do this. I'll just start asking you stuff, and then you'll just have to answer it.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
You and I are talking about looking at trophies.
Yes.
Obviously, because this format is one in which it's video and audio.
Yes.
Not everyone knows that. Some people just listen to us.
Yes.
They listen to us because they tune in on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Play, or really anywhere that you can find podcasts. Mm-hmm. But others like to watch us and listen to us. Mm-hmm. They do that on YouTube, our YouTube channel, which is at the Loan Officer Podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, please know, this format's not our normal format. But we do appreciate that you have tuned in. We hope you like what we're doing. And please subscribe, please share, please comment, please like. And if you would like to, please follow us on all of our social media platforms, which is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at the Loan Officer Podcast. If you ever want to connect with me, Dustin Owen, I am on LinkedIn as Dustin Owen, and he is on Google as John Coleman.
There you go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to go?
I want to start with dealing with difficult borrowers and dealing with difficult people because that's all I seem to deal with every time I leave my house.
I don't have an answer for that one, John. Yeah, how do you deal with difficult people? Take a deep breath and a step back. Maybe you plant yourself as the subject matter expert. You have to find a way to let them know that, hey, I care, show empathy, but at the same time, I know what I'm talking about and I need you to listen to me. Mm-hmm. That would be my advice to anyone who's dealing with a difficult person. Or ask yourself, is this person worth their difficulty? Maybe they're not. Maybe at some point you have to find a way to professionally and politely tell that person, hey, look, it sounds like I'm not going to be the best fit for serving your needs. I would love nothing more but to help you find a person or a company that would be best at suiting your needs. I don't know what it is. You may be mad at the Sears guy, right? And I may be mad at Southwest, at which point those scripts don't count. So you say difficult people, that's a pretty wide.
Let's say you've worked a long time to get this borrower. You want a borrower, you've done all your diligence. You've done the follow-up calls, you've reached out, and the borrower's like, all right, I'm going to use you for my home loan. But once you get into the process, once you start gathering documents, you realize and you travel down this road, it's a little bit more difficult than you thought. They're a little bit harder to communicate with. They don't follow up on time, but you've already built the relationship, and you necessarily don't want to punt it. Do you have any tips or tricks to how to salvage a relationship without just completely punting the loan?
Yes, I would spend the 25 minutes that's going to take to conduct or to write an email where I had definitive deadlines that I needed certain documents done by. I would, underneath each one of those tabs, tell them why I need it. I'd be specific. I'd also throw in there, if X, then Y, right? If this document comes over and it shows insufficient funds, then I will need an updated statement. If this document comes over and the income doesn't match the income we're using to qualify you, we'll need additional documents. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set proper expectations at all times and all phases of my sales cycle. You're talking about loan originators if you're using the word borrower, but this applies to just about any industry, especially one that is a financial services or a sales industry. So I'd want to set proper expectations up front. I'd want to give clear examples of what it is that I need, explain why I need it, and then throw it out there that, hey, if for whatever reason what I ask for isn't what comes back, there's a chance I'll need some follow-up documentation. All I'm trying to do is give give myself the opportunity to say, hey, John, you remember when? You remember when I said X?
Right.
You remember when I told you that if Y came in, I would need Z? Well, that moment is happening. I do it in writing and I do it verbally so that I have CY8. I just covered my ass. Right? I have done my part. I never want to leave myself open that someone else can come back and say, that's not what you said, that's not what I heard. Because if I can't defend myself, then that's on me, not on them. Right? Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership, talks about that. No, it's my problem. It's my problem that you didn't follow my directions because obviously I, A, wasn't clear enough with my communication, and B, my expectations weren't set properly. I didn't give good enough instructions or details. And if I didn't write it down and there's no proof of it, then we get into he said, she said.
Right.
Never want to do that. That's why I write stuff down.
Right.
I will send you the email, then I'll call you. Hey, John, I just sent you an email. Please review it and call me with questions. Or if you'd like, I can schedule a time we can review it together.
Right.
But that email is going to be very specific, and it's going to be detailed.
Nice.
Like that's how I, like in your situation, that's exactly what I would do to prevent miscommunication, because normally everything comes down to communication. I mean, that was something that was so interesting when we interviewed Barry Habib on the show just like a week or two ago. And I was trying to lob Barry a question of like, what do you wish was taught to you growing up? And I'm usually thinking, oh man, I wish my parents taught me the value of investing in compound interest, or not going in debt, or becoming a homeowner, or whatever the case may be. And his was communication.
Yeah.
Like that was his answer. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like your parents didn't communicate to you? And he wasn't talking about his parents, he was talking about his teachers.
Yeah.
Well, all of us are teachers. At some point, you work with loan officers on creating video content to post on their social media or to solicit their database.
Correct.
You have to be able to coach and teach them.
Yeah.
Right? You have a bunch of knowledge. You're a subject matter expert in what you do, so that makes you a teacher. But if you're a piss poor communicator, then it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do if you cannot instruct the person that you're partnering with or that you're collaborating with.
Right.
Our clients, we are collaborating with, right? It takes both of us working in unison to get to the end goal. I can't drag you, my client, along with me when some of the stuff that I need to do my job, I can only get from you.
Yeah.
Right? It's a two-way street. If my home is being remodeled, but I'm never home to let the contractor in, is it the contractor's fault that we don't get the job done on time? No. But if I'm the contractor, did I set proper expectations? Did I let that homeowner know, hey, I need you home by this date for this many hours?
Right.
And then if you're not going to be home, can you have a neighbor let me in?
Right.
If we're not going to be home, would you trust me to have your garage code and come in? Right? Like that's how life works. Usually comes down to piss poor communication. Barry Habib said he wishes his teachers did a better job of explaining the why.
Yeah.
Hey, Barry, you're going to take Algebra 2.
Well, why?
Yeah. Look, you may not become an engineer. You may never need this math ever in your life, and that's okay. But you're doing this class because it is structuring or shaping your brain to think in a critical manner. You don't know this yet because your brain's not fully developed if you're in high school. These skills that you are learning, you will apply later in life. It may be in parenting. It may be in a tech startup company that you're funding. It could be in a job interview. But it's not going to be Algebra 2, but it's going to be the critical thinking skills that you picked up in Algebra 2.
Well said.
He wishes he had that. We as business professionals need to become better communicators. And if you're not a good communicator, it's probably because you don't work on it. Okay, find a way to work on it. Like, I know how I'm going to work on it. Shout out to Renee Rodriguez all over again.
Yeah.
Like, see Renee speak.com, I believe it is. I want to take one of Renee Rodriguez's courses. I want to read books. I want to do TED Talks. Would I ever want to do a TED Talk? Probably not. But would I do one? Probably. I could probably be coaxed into almost anything. Sure, why not? Yeah, I'll do that. 3 months later, all this preparation and stress. $3,000 on a brand new suit. Telling my wife I'm yet flying out of town again for work.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Sure.
But no, watch a TED Talk. Read a book. Become a good communicator.
Word.
All right.
Okay, I got
What
another.
else?
I got another one for you.
You like this, don't you?
Yes, I do, because I can. It's good. It's organic. For younger loan officers that are getting into the business, they're very eager. But for those how do they get respect? Hey, I'm a newer loan officer. I'm working around, but it doesn't seem people are giving me the respect I deserve or want because I'm new. I'm trying to cut my teeth. I'm doing everything right. I'm hustling. I'm grinding. But my NMLS number is hella long, and people don't respect me for it.
Well, I would first start with respect is earned, is never given. I think human interaction, a certain amount of trust should just be given, right? A basic level of respect. Did I say trust? I meant respect.
Yeah.
A basic level of respect should just be given, like one human to another. But the higher level respect, I think that is earned. And so I think your real question is, how do I go out and earn the respect that I want and that I need? Some of it you're just gonna get by sticking around long enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the truth, especially like in a profession that Whether it's loan origination or my buddy Andrew who sells IT training, it's still a sales job that's primarily commissioned. Recruiting, primarily commissioned sales job. Medical sales reps, there's all these different sales jobs. Car sales. Sometimes those people within those offices won't even talk to the new person until they've been around for 6, 9, or 12 months because they see so many come and go.
Right.
So at a certain point, no, you have to earn it, and you earn it by just being available and being around and sticking it out the first 1, 2, or even 3 years. At the same time, you have to set yourself apart. So what can you do right now that others aren't doing? Well, if I'm a young loan originator, you know what? I can make myself available on nights and weekends where maybe some of the more old school vets are no longer doing that. If I'm a loan originator younger in my career, maybe I can go door knocking with the realtor, because door knocking is effective, but it's not fun, and it's a way for realtors to go out and drum up business, whether it's buyers or sellers. So if I could just go be their companion, right? I mean, it's more fun and it's safer doing things in 2s versus 1s. Right. Maybe I volunteer to do that. Maybe the realtor that I'm having a meeting with or the builder that I'm having a meeting with, they have just a laundry list, an Excel spreadsheet that is like, hundreds of names long of people who have shown interest in buying or selling homes in the past 90 days or 9 months, and they just haven't done a good enough job of staying in front of those people. And I tell them, look, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. I'll give those people a call. I'll introduce myself as a lender with XYZ Mortgage Company and let them know that I partner with you and that we're curious collectively. Have you bought or sold the home that you were looking to buy or sell? Right? That's something that I could do, and eventually people are going to start seeing me. They're going to start hearing me. I'm going to bring them things of value. My respect level is going to go up, right? You saw me and you met me 3 months ago, and you could smell that I was new.
Yeah.
You just could.
Yeah.
But by March of next year, when you see me again, oh, you're still around?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm with the same company? That's a huge one. I'm with the same company? Okay, you're not jumping around? Like, you're serious about this? I'm like, yes, I'm serious about this. I think the last thing you do is, what experience do you give their clients that other people aren't? How could you give their clients a different experience? Now, early on, if you don't know shit from Shinola, the only experience you might be is like, hey, I meet every one of your clients in person, assuming they want to.
Right.
Assuming they want to. Or I do this elaborate Zoom meeting where I allow them to order something from Grubhub, and we do it over lunch together. Right? Like, you can get creative to just make the client experience 1 notch or 2 notches above what they would have received from their bank, the online lender, or the other top producers in your market. Eventually, that experience needs to be with your intellect. Right? Like, I don't pre-approve home buyers. I don't. I do a home buyer consultation. It's a big difference. Like, you talk to me, we're going to talk about comfort monthly payment. We're going to talk about how much money you have allocated for closing, how long you're going to be in the home for, your family. We're going to talk about your family. Your exit strategy. Exit strategy is like, hey, at what age do you want to retire, and are you on pace to do that? I'm gonna give you some nuggets about your credit. I'm gonna give you some knowledge regarding saving for retirement. And I'm gonna speak from a person of experience when I do so, and that comes across to my clients. So the realtors and builders who used to refer me, they referred me because they knew that the experience their client got with me was way different. That was why I was respected. That's how I set myself apart.
Nice.
Okay, what else?
Okay.
Let's do this all day. Can we do every episode this way, John?
Hopefully, maybe not. Yes, one day we can. One day we'll just come on there and just hit record and say anything.
Yes, we can. But honestly, like, foreshadowing a little bit, like, I'm pretty excited. We're having Tony Thompson on the show in a few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Tony is the founder, president, CEO of NAMBA. So we're going to really dive deep into what NAMBA is, what they're doing. It's a lot of good stuff with diversity and inclusion. Okay. Remember we had Brian Young with Home Lending Pal on like Brian a year ago? Yeah. Dude, they're crushing it.
Yeah.
They're crushing it. They're raising even millions of more dollars. They're getting mad love from like companies like IBM and oh yeah, they've had some NFL players invest in them.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, he's on social media and he's like, hey, look, I'm going to be the first black unicorn in fintech. I'm like, hell yes, brother, you should be.
That's awesome.
High five, and how can we help you get there?
Yeah.
So Brian's going to be out in San Diego at the same time we're in San Diego.
Nice.
So I'm hoping we can hook up with him again. But if not, he lives right down the road.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about having Brian back on the show.
Okay.
Right? Maybe we can tie into a little bit of what we talked about with Tony on that. Had a listener reach out to us, and the listener's like, hey, look, I want some more top producing, badass lady originators.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know Kayla up in Jacksonville. Kayla's on point. She is on point, but she is on pace to close well over $40 million this year in business, of which it's primarily purchase and primarily realtor focused. Kayla's, this is her second full year in the business. Last year was her first full year.
Yeah.
I think she's been in for like maybe around 30 months, so not quite 3 years.
Right.
And then I'm friends with this lady named Yvette Claremont. Now, she's been in the business for like 20 plus years or 20-ish years. But hey, she funds $120 million a year. Yeah, so I've been in dialogue with Yvette trying to get her on the show. Now, unfortunately, Yvette lives about 3 hours away from us. But and that's south of us.
Right.
Her son goes to school about 2 hours north of us. So she's like, well, I drive through Orlando like every couple months. I'm like, sweet, let's do it around... let's plan a trip where you can stop here for an hour, and we're trying to do that as well. So we can't do this format all the time.
Yeah.
But had someone hit us up. The folks over at Blend, we're trying to get them on the show.
Yep.
Blend's a fantastic software that originators and banks should be using, or at least looking into using. And what a guy who represents like some national credit union association. Right. He's like, hey, we'd like to come on your show and talk about what it's like to become a loan officer or a bank, a lender at a credit union.
That's great.
I'm like, yeah, I think our audience would like that.
I think so.
Yeah. So just, the one rule is, are you going to be in Orlando?
Yeah.
And something I've been thinking more about, like for our listeners, you guys want to come on the show? Look, we can't let everyone on the show. Right? We cannot let everyone on the show, and I'm not going to open Pandora's box.
You already did, but go ahead.
Yeah. But if you think you're really interesting, you think that your story is one that others will get value from hearing about, your struggles. Yeah. Hit us up. Let's talk about it. The rule is we are at 2699 Lee Road in Winter Park, Florida. This is where we do the bulk of our recording. Yeah. We do some on location, usually when we're at industry functions. And John and I, this will be our third industry function that we've attended, or fourth when we go to San Diego.
I think it's going to be our fourth.
It'll be our fourth. I could see us probably doubling that next year, and probably even doubling that the year after. I could see us being close to going to one industry function per month by 2023, and maybe we do 8 next year.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's do this. So if you're going to be at one of the industry events that we're going to be at, by all means, have camera, have mics, we'll travel. Yeah. Sometimes the hotels don't really like where we set up. We had that happen. Yeah. We set up in the lobby at one hotel. They loved it. Set up in the lobby of another hotel. They were cool with it. Yep. Third hotel, not so much. No, but they were hella accommodating.
There it is. Yeah.
So we definitely appreciate that. I'm sure Barry had to pull some strings for that.
There it is.
Now what else? Like,
go ahead.
Well, no. One thing I was gonna share with you. Go ahead. So it's really awesome. Okay. So about 3 years ago, I started. I signed up to be a mentor out at the College of Business for UCF. So typically they're college juniors, college seniors in the College of Business, and they're going through a mentorship program. Okay. So we come in as alumni, typically alumnus. Okay. Anyhow, we roll in, and it's about 30 of us. There's about 150 of them, and we do like a speed dating where we sit down on a table like this, and we're given 7 minutes,
that's cool.
And people run through round robin. Yeah. Last year kind of sucked because it was COVID, so we didn't really get that opportunity. But years prior, that's what we did, and we did this last night. I love it because I love meeting people. Right. I loved it this year because the students know a little bit of something about you, right, coming in. So they know, hey, this guy runs a mortgage company, and he dabbles in real estate development and real estate investment, but they also have a podcast. Oh, okay. And the number of questions I got about the podcast, oh my God. And I'm able to tell them, like, look, it's our passion project. It's our hobby. We try to make it fun. We try to make it entertaining, but also insightful and educational. But I'm like, it's honestly geared for you guys, 18 to 35-year-olds. And really, it's like 18 to 49-year-olds. Right. I told them 35 because I wanted them to think it's a little bit cooler and hipper than what it really is.
Right.
But when I'm at that thing, I love it because I'm meeting the future leaders of all industries. Some will go into real estate, some will go into banking. 2 of them that met with me want to go into HR. And I'm like, you know what? I can actually talk to you about HR because de facto, I'm my group's local HR manager. I mean, we have 8 branches and we have 100 associates.
Someone got to wrangle the kittens.
Yes. Now, I have a phenomenal VP of HR that I collaborate with, and she has her team, but it still has to go through my desk to get there first. So I even told that young lady, I'm like, hey, look, I don't know how they're going to match this because, like, just because 7 people came and sat down with me doesn't mean I get to mentor 7.
Right.
I get to mentor 1 or 2. The mentees get to choose who they want. The college is going to try to match the best that they can. But, man, there's this one kid. I came home. I couldn't wait to tell my wife and kids about him.
About this kid you met?
Yeah. Like, I legit told him, I said, look, I don't know if we're going to get matched, and I don't care. I'm like, I want to mentor you. I want to be a resource for you. If you want it, I'm here.
Does he even know that he has talent?
It's interesting. I don't know.
So is he sitting behind the 3-point line just draining shots, and he's like, "Hey, kid, you got talent." You're like, "Oh, who, me?"
Yeah,
Is it kind of like one of those situations?
Let's think about this. Parents, which again, you're not one.
Thank God.
People are tuned in. They probably are. Could you imagine the kid I'm thinking about? He's an immigrant, and in 2012, when he was 10 years old, his brother was 15 years old. His parents sold everything that they owned that had value and sent he and his brother to the United States of America.
Okay.
Like, think about that. For those of us that were born here, that are natural-born citizens, okay, this family did this for their 10 and their 15-year-old. They didn't come with them. They didn't have the proper documentation to do so. The boys did, but the parents didn't. And those boys lived with complete strangers. By the way, the boys didn't speak English. It was not their first language. English was not their first language, nor was Spanish. Now, they went to a household where both English and Spanish were spoken. So I jokingly said, I go, oh, my God, how confusing was it for you? You came over speaking French, and the household that you live in is speaking English and Spanish, 2 languages you don't know. He's like, yeah. I go, how's your Spanish?
Right.
First question I ask anybody anymore. And he's like, I can understand it. He's like, I can't really speak it.
Right.
All right, but he's 10. Parents, you want to talk about love for your children? That is heart-wrenching to put your children on an airplane and send them to a foreign country. Whether that foreign country is a 2-hour flight away or 12-hour flight away, it's still a foreign country to live with strangers. And those strangers, they charged rent. The program that their children were a part of, you had to pay for your own housing, and it was $400 a month. So his 15-year-old brother worked at McDonald's while going to high school and learning English. And he could pay the $400 a month. Fast forward to today. So the kid's now a young adult. He's 22 years old. He's looking to graduate college this December with no student loan debt. Now, because of his situation, he couldn't apply for grants. He couldn't apply for most scholarships because there's a certain document that you have to fill out in order to apply for this. And that document will require your parents' information. Most parents don't live in the United States. They're not even citizens. They've only visited once when he was 16. They came over. Okay? And if you don't have parents, then you should have a foster system. But he's not in the foster system either. So he couldn't. He couldn't even apply for grants or most scholarships because he hasn't completed the proper paperwork.
Okay.
But he found a way. He found a way to work, go to the local community college, which I think they now call like whatever county it is, state. Yep, Broward State, whatever the case may be. Obtained his AA. During that time, found a scholarship for people who are just like him. And it's under the DACA program. And that allowed him to come to UCF and to work while also going to school. This guy has done this mentorship program. It's going to be his 4th time.
Okay.
Most do it once. It's because they're getting college credit to do so. Or it's an assignment that they have to do.
Yeah.
He's done it 4 different times.
On his own accord.
On his own accord. He will graduate in December with no student loan debt. He hasn't seen his parents since he was 16.
What?
They can't afford it. They can't afford to come see him, and he can't afford to leave the United States to go back to his country of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone like that, yes. Yes, I don't know what got me on that tangent.
No,
besides the story, like if you ever, like, I shared that for inspiration. If anyone thinks they have it bad,
Yeah.
like, and by the way, he was calm as can be when we talked about it. He wasn't bragging. He wasn't giving a presentation. It was he and I one-on-one. And the conversation all started because they had a reception after the speed dating round.
Yeah.
And during the speed dating, he told me, hey, I want to buy my first property. I have some questions regarding down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer loans.
All right.
And I was like, hey, we're speed dating. I don't have time to do a pre-qual for you.
Yeah.
But here's my card. Call me. I spend all the time in the world for you.
Yeah.
He came in and he walked by me, and I grabbed him during the reception. And during the reception, like, mentees aren't really supposed to, like, be with mentors.
Yeah.
The reception is more for all of us mentors to get to network.
Right.
But I grabbed him. He's like, you don't mind? I go, no, man, the guy I was sitting with was like, blow hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you actually do me a favor.
Yeah.
And it was during that time that I started asking him questions and learning his story. And he answered it as calm as you are looking at me, as calm as he was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I went and listened to this motivational speaker, like, oh, let me tell you about my story. No, it was just all matter of the fact. And I'm looking at him the whole time. I'm like, do you not know how special you are? Like, we have so many freaking privileged people in this world. Like, I thought I was like, oh, woe is me. My family couldn't afford vacations.
Right.
You know, now I know I'm privileged because I grew up in a household where both my parents worked. We didn't deal with drug addiction. My parents loved each other. They loved my sister and I. They provided, like, we had a great household.
Right.
But I was always jealous of the kids whose parents, like, made more money and they used that money to go on family vacations.
Right.
Right. So, and I know I'm more privileged than my friends who grew up with, you know, a single mom or a single dad. But this guy, I don't know many people who at 10 were ripped from their parents. Their parents loved them so much, they shipped them off to live with strangers, sold everything that they had. He persevered. Right? It wasn't like he was on this government. No. They had to pay to live at that house. Now, yes, he got to go to the public school, but he couldn't just get grants. He couldn't apply for certain student loans.
Right.
He can't apply for scholarships because he can't fill out the proper documents. But he found a particular scholarship through that program. Now, he also found some scholarship money and some direction from groups like 100 Black Men, which is a phenomenal organization. But it's just like, yeah, and you've done what with it? And by the way, where he's interning right now, he has a badass internship. Like, badass internship. Like, I'm jealous of his internship.
No way.
Yeah. So anyone listening to that much, I don't even know why I'm talking about that. Besides, he impressed me that much to where I'm like, I kind of hope we don't get matched so that I can mentor him outside of the program.
Right.
But I really hope we get matched so that I can mentor him.
Nice.
Just a cool kid. All right, what else did you have on your docket?
Well, leadership. So, what advice do you have for younger leaders? Let's say they were a loan officer by themselves, obviously sourcing all the business by themselves, but they've grown to where they have a team now and they are transitioning into becoming a leader, but they've never been a leader. Besides, like, recommending a book, what, like, experiences can you give from your own experiences, I guess?
Well, let's talk about this. The minute other people start looking up to you, you're a leader. Period. End of story. Like, you don't have to have a team. They don't have to work for you. But if you're a person of influence within your company, within your office, within your branch, you're a leader, and no one teaches nor studies leadership at the level that they should, in my opinion. If you're actually going to go as far as do enough production in whatever your field of industry is, that requires you to have a support person. You have to understand there's a huge difference between being a boss and being a leader. No one really likes a boss. Now, some people need a boss straight up.
All day.
They
Some
do.
people- yeah,
Look,
they do.
if you are or you have an associate that's a part of your team that looks up to you or rolls underneath you in an organizational chart, and that person consistently works inconsistent, they're consistently average to below average, yeah, they've earned getting a boss.
Yeah.
They've earned it. Like, you need a boss. You need someone to hold you accountable, to slap your wrist when you don't do something right. Because at that point, I need to either manage you up or manage you out. I want to manage you up and then become your leader, but I can't lead when you don't allow me to lead. So that's one thing to know. Like, I will teach, look, people don't want a boss, they want a leader, but sometimes people need a boss if their actions require it. But ultimately, you want to be a leader, but you don't know how to. It's going to take, like anything in life, it takes a whole lot of doing, a whole lot of getting it wrong, but a whole lot of understanding that you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay, but you're going to work every day at getting 1% better at leadership, taking courses, watching videos, introspectively figuring out what you can do better. How about this? Leaders, when was the last time you asked your team to give you an annual review?
It doesn't work that way. I don't top-down philosophy. I don't. No, doesn't go that way.
Some people manage that way.
I know.
Some people don't. And is there a happy medium? I would say yes. Maybe you don't want a formal review, but wouldn't you like to know how you're doing? And then does your team feel comfortable enough to be open and honest with you?
No and no. Yeah. Right.
Right. But I mean, that's very hard to do. I mean, we as associates are given our self-review, and it's amazing. You get a self-review back, and people are like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 out of 10.
Really?
I'm like, wow, you're perfect.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Like, how come you're not running this joint then if you're so good? I mean, it's
you're right.
like, no, none of us are perfect.
Right.
None of us are perfect. But the advice I would give is, A, you have to lead people how they want to be led. You have to know what their value is and what are their opportunities outside of you. Why do they work for you? Sit down and ask them, why does this person work for me? What would I do to make them want to work harder for me? What would I do to make them never want to work for me again? Right? So like if I have someone who's coming to work for me and I'm giving them an opportunity of a lifetime that I understand that 7 other people would give their right arm for this opportunity, I can lead them a little bit differently. I'm going to take a Nick Saban, Bill Belichick approach with that person. Because I know the minute you don't want it, I got 6 other people, 3 of them that may be better than you, who do.
Right.
You'll give me that opportunity to go find someone better. And I'm not concerned about not being able to find someone better. Now, if the opportunity is solely to work on a great team with good culture and have good work-life balance, you have to be able to recognize that and ask yourself, are you managing this person to those expectations of, hey, I love working here, I love being a part of your team, as long as you don't yell at me, cuss at me, throw things at me, micromanage me, right? And it's like, well, the big question I would have is, does that person have an opportunity to go work elsewhere, even if it's within my organization? Like if I'm a loan officer and I'm dogging out my processor, well, that processor, especially if they're worth what they think they're worth, they can go to their processing manager and say, look, I ain't working on so-and-so's files.
Never again.
Nah. And if they're that good, I'm going to promise you this.
Oh, we'll find a place for you.
Yep. Hey, you know what? We can make some corrective changes.
Yeah.
Now, if the manager says, well, it's either that or you're looking for a new job, you know where you stand.
Exactly.
You know where you stand, and you can make that decision, right? So I think as a person of influence within your organization, whether your title says manager on it or not, you have to understand, like, what is this person's career trajectory? How much of it relies on you? And if they weren't working with you, could they go elsewhere and get the same or a better opportunity? I think you have to lead accordingly. And you have to lead people the way that they want to. You can't be jamming square pegs into round holes. I can't make you want something as bad as I do. But I can ask you, what do you want? And then I can lead you in that direction. I can ask you, how much accountability do you expect out of me? Right? We can talk about those proper expectations and being on the same page, but also understand we're going to make mistakes. You know, the way that I led and managed at 32 is way different than 42. I look at my 32-year-old self and I'm like, oh my God. But that's life. I look at my 16-year-old self and I'm like, Jesus. Yeah, I don't notice that until I walk through like the high school football games. And I look at these kids, and one part of like makes my heart smile and get warm, right? Like nostalgia. And then my other part's like, damn, I was once like them. Right. And I think that's life. So I think you have to consistently be looking for improvement.
Nice. All right, last question.
How much time do we have?
This
is it?
That's the last question. You always go around asking people, one of the main themes of this show is everything you should have learned in high school but didn't. What would you, Dustin Owen, today tell your loan officer self on day one? Let's say you went back to Dustin Owen, day one in the mortgage industry. what would be the one piece of advice you would give your former self coming into the industry, knowing everything you know now?
Database and lead follow-up.
Really?
I think so.
Database and lead follow-up.
Database and lead follow-up. He or she that controls the leads wins.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's a lead generation game. But I worked so hard to get the leads. I didn't learn how to database market till I was like year 3 or year 4 in the business. Right? When the first refi, the HARP refi boom hit 2000 and I don't know if that was 10 or 11, I had 250 clients. I had no idea how to get a hold of them, what their interest rate was. Because I didn't maintain a database.
Really? What'd you have like written on like flashcards or something? Jokingly, but
No, like I closed your loan, I got paid, and life went on.
oh, and you just let him. That was it.
Yeah, and life went on. Like,
Oh my god.
you know, like, hey, here's my card.
Call me if you need me.
Yeah,
Maybe.
tell your friends about me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot to really stay in front of them, or I worked so hard. Now with the lead follow up, I had a spiral notepad.
Okay.
I did at least have a spiral notepad, and I did a half-assy good job of following up.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, just off the cuff, like coming into the loan business. Yeah, I mean, it's everything that we coach and teach. Do the 12-week challenge. I mean, that's become an advisor. Learn as much as you can about personal finance. Like in general, become a good practitioner of budgeting, of saving for retirement. Like that's some practical knowledge that would come into play if you're going into loan origination. Make it about the people, not about the paycheck. Make it about the people, the paycheck will come. Like that's not one thing. That's like 5 different things. Give it time, but I knew that coming into it. Like I had the one good thing my hiring manager left me was give it 2 years. That's it. Yeah, I say that incessantly.
That's what you said to everybody.
Give it 2 years. Give it 2 years. Look at us for the podcast.
Yeah.
When we hit our 2-year mark in February of next year.
Yeah, God. We'll be so.
Yeah, look how much further we're going to be ahead, and just in general.
Right.
But it took 2 years, and I'm going to feel like come February, we're just getting started.
I know, right?
Like come February of next year, we're just getting started.
We're just finding our footing, to be honest with you.
Yes. Same thing goes for my friends that I coach in the real estate development, real estate investment world. Their 2-year mark is also February of next year. I just had a coaching session with them this morning. It's going to take 2 years. I mean, I talked to my cousin Jimmy up in Chicago, who's a top producer for Jones Lang LaSalle. Like, I talked to him about his income or lack thereof, his first 2 years as a commercial realtor. Yeah, 2 years. I mean, 2 years. It just does. It takes 2 years.
Okay.
So that's some sage advice that was given to me that I still preach 16 years later.
Okay.
And I think that's all things. That truly is just about all things. And if you hit success early, it's sometimes a detriment. Think about that one. If you hit success early, it's sometimes a detriment because it came too easy. You didn't have to work. And now you're expect it to always be this easy. And then when it does become hard, you won't know how to operate. You won't know how to react.
Throw a damn temper tantrum. That's what happens.
How about some bonus content?
Okay.
We'll call them DO-isms.
Okay.
And they're not really my isms. These are things that I've picked up along the way or they are shared with me that I still find funny. And they are stereotypes,
Yes.
which I know I'm always very cautious and cognizant of. And you're always like, what do you tell me about stereotypes?
They're a stereotype for a reason.
Yeah.
That's why they're called stereotypes.
Yeah. For anyone tuned in that made it this far, like John and I become good friends over the past going on 2 years now. So we work together, but we're developing this friendship. So we have a lot of cool conversations outside of work or during working hours. But like we preface, hey, this is friend talk,
Right.
And I'm probably more cognizant of, hey, I probably shouldn't say that. Man, my wife gave me shit last night because I made a funny, but she didn't think it was funny. And you're always like, nah, man, it's a stereotype for a reason.
That's what I call a stereotype.
So here are some stereotypes
Yes.
for my real estate and my lender friends.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
And I need to thank, there's a guest that's been on the show once at least before, Ben Davis. Ben was the who's who in my office when I started in this industry in 2004.
No way.
Yeah, Ben now runs Waterstone Mortgage's Winter Park branch, which is the #1 branch in the entire company. But he was the who's who. He was a person of influence, although he wasn't a manager.
All right.
Right? So he was a leader, whether he wanted to be or not. And so Ben is credited for some of these, and some of these maybe I made up or I picked them up from someone else. Can't remember. Who cares?
Right.
So the first one is this.
Okay.
If they drive a Hummer,
Right.
like an H2 or H3, they can't prove their income.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
True story on this one.
Okay.
A good buddy of mine that you know
Okay.
used to drive an H2 or an H3. I think he had an H2.
Okay. Not cheat.
And we were unable to qualify him for a home loan, not once but twice, until he met with his CPA, and admitted his tax returns.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
That stereotype was drafted well before he ever bought his H2.
Right.
So if they drive a Hummer, they can't prove their income.
Okay.
All right?
That's a good one.
If you hear self-employed,
Run.
no.
Okay. I'm just kidding.
But take a step back and a deep breath and slow your roll.
Okay.
Right? Slow your roll. You're not moving forward, realtors, with showing that person property, lenders with drafting pre-approval letters until you've seen their tax returns. Just period, end of story. You hear someone self-employed, take a deep breath and a step back and slow down.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear the word condo, deep breath, relax, take a step back, just understand there's going to be more to it. Everything from the client's going to freak out when you tell them there's a $600 a month condo association dues.
What?
They're going after condos because they saw the cheap sales price, not realizing that a $150,000 condo is going to warrant the same exact payment as a $265,000 single-family home that's not in an HOA.
Mind blown.
Yeah, mind blown, right? So like you hear that word condo, you just take a step back. If you're looking to buy a condo, hey, let your lender know up front. It's going to be a little bit more difficult approval process.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always a good rule of thumb, not quite a stereotype because those are truth.
Right.
The condo self-employed is more truth, less stereotype.
Right.
I'll throw you a stereotype.
Okay.
Some people are going to be like, oh shit, that's me.
Okay.
If your email, your voicemail tags end with have a blessed day, your credit is garbage.
Okay.
Don't know why that is. People are like, Dio, why is that? I don't know. It's not
just
always true.
It's just the way it is.
It's not always true. Like, 1 in 10, actually the credit is good.
Right.
But, maybe it's because people of faith, man, they just leave it all up to God. And sometimes God doesn't get a chance to pay your bills for you.
Correct. Yes.
And maybe they have no worries in the world.
God
right?
got
Because the faith in the Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
God ain't gonna
but
mail
for
that
whatever
check in.
reason, if your email signature says, have a blessed day, or your voicemail somewhere in it says have a blessed day, I'm gonna go straight to, man, I gotta check their credit ASAP.
Let me just pull that right now. Get it out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just need to take a look.
Right.
Yep. And then the last one.
Okay.
And we get this more in Florida because we are a destination location, right? Like people are fleeing California and they're going to Idaho and Texas. People are fleeing Illinois and New York and they're coming to Florida. Primarily New York, New Jersey coming to Florida. They've been doing this for 40 years now. Just go down to Boca Raton. You can't go down to Boca Raton, Florida.
Fat Tony's Pizza every corner.
Yes, that Long Island accent.
I was like, what?
Somehow I asked somebody, I'm like, oh, you're from New York? Like, no. I'm like, let me guess, Boca?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Yeah. So shout out to my boy
Shout out Boca.
Lee Coe. Lee Coe is a college friend of mine. I haven't talked to Lee in probably a decade.
Right.
He crushes it up in Atlanta, Georgia. I believe he sells annuities for a living.
Okay.
Great dude. Like, just great. But he grew up in Boca Raton. And he has straight up the most thick Long Island, New York accent.
Yeah.
But no. So for my people in the Southeast, now this is going to apply to probably places like Charlotte, places like Atlanta, places like Raleigh, like basically the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, the Southeast. People are flocking out of the Northeast to come down here. And they always want to buy a primary home, and they don't have a job down here first.
That darn thing.
Yeah. So I've just known when someone has said, yeah, I'm transferring down to Florida and I'm going to buy my first house, I have to ask them, well, do you have a job down here? Well, no, I won't get that until I buy my house. How do I know where I want to apply?
Ooh.
Yeah. So anytime I'm talking to someone who I know is relocating.
Right.
Oh, I'm relocating. That's it. I'm not transferring. I'm relocating.
Okay.
And they're coming from New York, New Jersey. Deep breath. The first thing I have to ask them,
Do you have a job when you get down here?
yeah, and I'd say a little nicer than that. I say, hey, is your employer transferring you down here?
Mm-hmm.
Have you already solidified a new job, or do you work in a career that geographic location has no bearing, meaning you can work from home?
Right.
Now, last year, you may have more people saying, oh, nope, same employer, I can work from home.
Mm-hmm.
But the previous 25 years,
Right.
no, we had a lot of people from the Northeast wanting to move down here without a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't even rent an apartment if you can't prove your income. And no, I can't use your income of whatever industry that you're in. Maybe you work at a factory over in Staten Island,
Mm-hmm.
but are you going to be able to work that same factory job in Florida?
Well,
No.
yeah,
Can you work that factory job from your house? No.
Well, how am I supposed to find out until I buy my house yet, Dustin?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Here's what I'm going to tell you. In this case, it was the chicken. That's the job. Yep.
Right.
You need that job.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a little like ism.
Okay.
Yeah. This was a fun
I
episode,
can tell.
John Coleman.
I'm glad this was more for you because you started off real pissy. Now you're like in a good mood. So
I am in a good mood.
I know
Now,
because you needed this.
Well, I'm going to get real pissy when I see what time it is.
I
and
know.
I realize I'm
Don't
probably
look
late
at the
to
clock.
get my
I
daughter
know.
to dance.
So,
and I'm not going to go to the gym now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have for today. If you are looking for Dustin Owen, you can find him. Just search for him on LinkedIn. He can be found Dustin Owen. If you want to find me, don't, because I'm not around. That's all the time we have for today. He's Dustin Owen. I'm John Coleman. We'll check you on the flip side. Peace.